Welcome back to the Daily Drift, everybody. If you can't tell already, we're pulling an engine out of a BMW. So if you guys want to know how to do this and you want to know how to pull out your engine, I may not be the best source of information, but I'm going to show you what I did and kind of how I got it out. I hope it's helpful, and if not, well, at least it's going to be entertaining. So I hope you all have a great day. Enjoy. We know we're shit. Yeah. Thanks for watching the Daily Drift.
So what we're going to do is we're going to start by getting rid of this intake, moving it out of the way because we need to be able to get access to the back because we need to be able to attach a chain to it. As well as we got an engine mount down here that we got to get to. We got to disconnect our fuel line. We got to disconnect our power steering. We're going to check for any grounds that might need to come off of here. But for the most part, we're just basically opening this up so we can see what's going on. And then pretty soon we should be able to just jack this up because we got a nice jack point here. But we don't have anything to the back, so that's why we're removing the intake. And yeah, so it'll look something like this. So over here on this engine, you can see like what we did here. We basically just ran a bolt through where one of the transmission bolts were to get a nice thing on there to be able to lift it up. So that should make it a lot easier on our engine. It just opens up a lot more space when you get the intake off.
So let's get started and see just how this thing goes.
Okay, so right here all I'm doing is I'm removing the traction control. After I got rid of the traction control, all I had to do was start undoing all the hoses to the throttle body, and then I started working on getting the fuel injectors out. They kept getting stuck on me, but I just kept working with them, wiggling them until eventually I got them all out. And then I started to remove the throttle body. It was pretty easy, just 4 bolts. Slide it kind of out of the way. And then all I had to do was remove the CCV and the ICV so that way I could get the intake out. Boy, this thing took me way longer than I anticipated, and I started getting really, really frustrated.
Okay guys, so it's another day. Yesterday, I was getting really frustrated with this thing, and it just got to the point where I knew myself and I had to take a break, so I did. And that break turned into not working on the car the rest of the day. I focused on some other projects dealing with the podcast, but basically, I can't seem to figure out how to get this harness to unhook, and it looks like as though, see, there's these 2 screws that hold this thing up here, and I was thinking, okay, these wires go around here, you can unhook this, but there's a wire that runs to the back, and this is actually a bundle of wires, and it goes into this fuse box. At this point, I don't want to have to remove the fuse box just to pull all this, so I think what I'm going to do is instead I'm going to come down here, and there's 2 bolts that hold this thing. Since most of this is going to have to be transferred to the new block anyway, all I'm going to do is I'm going to mark all of these little connections, and I'm just going to basically fold it up off to the side, and then hopefully after I mark all these things, we'll be able to just move it off to the side, and then it'll be able to work, and we'll be able to pull this engine out, put the new one in, and everything should just lay right where we want it to go. Because really, if I pull the whole harness out, it's kind of pointless because we're just transferring everything to the new block. So I guess it's just the difference of whether or not I do the work here or outside the car. So I'm going to do it. I don't know where most of these sensors, what they're for. I'm just going to label them and kind of try to figure it out as I go. So yeah, wish me luck because I'm definitely going to need it on this one.
So I forgot to mention that the first thing I did is I put some paper towels in the intake, basically just to prevent dirt and shit from getting in there that we don't want. And then I disconnected the electrical connections, and I was just marking basically their location and what I thought the sensor was, because a lot of them I had no idea. So I was just basically putting it in a place that I could remember, and that's pretty much what I did. And then afterwards we just flung it up out of the way.
We just need to get those 2 bolts out.
So after we got the harness out of the way, we just moved on to removing the power steering rack lines, and there's these 2 bolts hidden down there.
So guys, all I'm doing right now is I'm literally just trying to flush out any fluid left in the rack because it was really leaky, and I think I accidentally put power steering fluid in it instead of ATF. So just in case, these cars are kind of funny. You're not supposed to put power steering fluid in them. You're supposed to put ATF, I guess. And I'm not sure what's in there, so I'm just going to flush the whole thing out because whenever we put the new lines on, I just want to put fresh, clean fluid in there. So that's what we're going to do.
So supposedly this shaft right here, the steering shaft, it runs up alongside here. Supposedly you have to take that out. It makes it easier to pull out. I'm not sure, but I'm going to take it out anyway just because I would rather be sure that when I go to pull this thing, everything's loose and we're not hanging up on anything. It looks like it's just this one bolt up here. It looks like just one bolt there, and then there's another one There's another one down here in this spot. It's kind of hard to see right now, but because it's so damn dirty and covered in oil. So we'll just remove that, and then yeah, that'll be it for the engine bay, because we unhooked these lines. AC's not hooked up. Everything else is loose as far as the front of the engine goes. I literally just flung the wiring harness up there with everything, so it should be out of the way. So after we go and we get all this stuff taken care of, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to get under the car and work on getting the transmission all undone. Make sure there's no part of the wiring harness that's still connected. Disconnect the drive shaft, the bracing, everything like that. We'll put a jack under it, and yeah, we'll just go from there. So we're getting really close. We're really close to getting this thing out. So I just need to start tearing stuff apart. So let's do it.
And this is where the ride on the struggle bus began. We started working on that steering shaft, and it was nothing but a pain in the ass.
So I've been having a hell of a time getting the steering shaft out. So what I'm going to attempt to do is jam a screwdriver in between the gap that I opened up and try to basically wedge it open so I can then get it loose. Because right now it's on there so tight, I just can't get it out. I've been messing with it for a couple hours now, probably. At least that's what it feels like. So we're going to try a screwdriver and see if that works. We'll see. Wish me luck.
So I even used a giant ass pry bar, and even that couldn't get this thing to break loose.
Check this out. This engine mount is so shot I can
Shake the whole engine.
It's crazy.
I'm just trying to get this stupid thing off, and it is just a pain in the ass.
Okay, so I finally got it. This thing, these steering shafts are a pain in the ass. So if you have to replace them, ooh, I think I found the best way to do it. But it's going to destroy the shafts. But take a look.
So I literally jammed a screwdriver in it, and then I sprayed a bunch of PB Blaster. It's kind of hard to see, but... And now it's all loose. And I could move it down and pull it off.
Well, finally got this sucker out. It actually feels like it's got a pretty good amount of play. Like, there's not too much play in here, but this will give you a better idea what I had to do. So you can see literally all I did is I jammed a screwdriver in here just to loosen that sucker up. It seemed to do the trick. I was then able to spray a bunch of PB Blaster in there, and then I just wedged it down and out. And I just made sure that the bottom ones came out as well. And yeah, so now we got our shaft out, which is, I'd call it a win. Making progress, one thing at a time. Seems like every little thing is fighting me along the way, but we're gonna get this thing out, one way or another. So after all that, I finally got this little sucker out. This thing is such a pain in the ass. I literally had to wedge a thing in there, screwdriver, to try to pry it open, and then try to bang it from under the car with a hammer and a pry bar. Dude, this thing was stuck on there so bad, like, it was... Getting the steering shaft out took me about 3 hours total so far. So I'm a little bit behind on where I want to be today, but we're really close. So all we got to do now is we just got to get under there, unbolt the transmission, drive shaft, and any other wiring harness thing, and we should be good. But I need to go get some food. I'm starving. I'll be back.
Our parts pile just keeps growing and growing and growing. Boy, I tell you.
Okay, so it's going to be kind of hard to see, but what we got to do is we got to get this exhaust undone.
And then up here, we got these bolts here and over on that side for the cross member. But before we pull those, we need to make sure that we support the transmission. So that little thing right there, that's called a guibo. And we got to unbolt that from the drive shaft, as well as the exhaust and everything else.
But as you can clearly see, there's not a lot of space under here. Problem is, my jack doesn't jack this thing up high enough. And there's not enough room, so I got to figure something out. Because right now, I'm not going to be able to work under here like this. So I gotta figure something out before I get too far. Because if I'm this tight and I haven't even pulled the engine yet, the chances are when I go to pull it, it's probably just gonna hit the ground. So, we'll figure it out. We'll be right back. I also forgot to mention we gotta undo this shifter linkage from the transmission. It's kind of a pain in the ass, but this is where it's located. So when you're under the car, you're gonna see the bottom side. You're gonna see this guibo, and then up here there's gonna be a little clip that clips into this thing. It's going to be on this side, and it's a pain in the ass. And what you have to do is you have to try to jam a screwdriver and pop it up, and then it'll slide out. Kind of a pain, and this one's pretty simple. It just kind of unclips. There's little clips on there, and you undo it. But this is the one that's a bitch. And if you have the heat shrink, it's really difficult. But basically, just get a small screwdriver, flathead, pop it behind here,
and you just have to force it as best you can, and it'll pop up and slide out. We also got to pull these 2 bolts here, and we're just going to pull this without disconnecting the actual lines. That way we don't have to bleed anything.
And now to start on the Guibo. Didn't take that long, it wasn't that difficult. It was only 3 bolts, slipped it right off. So after removing the Guibo, we had to move on to removing that little pain in the butt clip that holds the shifter linkage in. And I'll tell you what, it was a pain in the ass. After a few hours of struggling with this little shift selector thingy-mabobber, we had to contemplate life and death and everything in between and why we even bother sometimes. But eventually, we got it.
So guys, this took us literally hours. Hours and hours and hours.
To get one fucking clip.
All for this little son of a bitch. So yeah, be prepared. These things are a pain in the dick. Austin's just removing that cross member bar. It's a 17 to get those out. We were just thinking about it, and I totally forgot to mention to get that. So yeah. And then it's next up is the cross member for that. We're using a jack to hold it up. And yeah, we should be pretty much ready. Austin's getting the last, well, we got one engine mount down there. It's a 16 mil. And then we got one more down here.
Alright, everybody.
It's that moment of truth.
Yeah, now it's time to take this thing out. Hopefully we got everything unhooked. We think we do.
I hope so, especially because I can't see anything. Let me get my light. We're gonna do this the hard way. That's how we always do things. Let's start jacking her up, eh?
Oh, hey.
It's going up pretty smooth. Oh,
Hey.
that was like incredibly.
Hey, wait, am I about to pinch wires though back there by
Where?
the AC? There you go.
Let me get under it and check. Oh, you know what it is? The
What?
way. I think it's still hooked onto the exhaust. Oh, I got it. Alright, you're free of the exhaust.
Alright. I'll wait till you're out from under it to move it.
Okay, so it's free. Here we go. Looks good.
Ready?
Yeah, go slow.
I'm caught on something.
Back it up a little bit. That's the steering shaft. I might have to unbolt the actual steering rack because the oil pan's hitting on the steering rack. Okay, so you guys can probably not see Dick because, well, this camera sucks right now. So you can see there, that's that piece that's hitting the rack or whatever, or the rack's hitting the oil pan. So we're gonna lower this, hopefully, and it should clear. So we got the rack loosened, we slid it forward slightly.
Got our hands disgusting in the process.
Yeah, so now we're gonna try to pull it out. So wish us luck.
Is it something in the back? It feels like it's something in the back.
Yeah, it does. It's literally just hitting the top of the transmission tunnel right now. Like, I feel like it needs to come up.
And like pin so it like pivots down.
Yeah, like this end needs to come up more. Oh wait, what's this? There's the problem.
Uh-huh.
There's another line hooked up still.
Yep.
Oops.
Got it.
Well, see if she comes free. Oh, there's a ground wire
Where?
right here.
I would get the camera and show you guys, but my hands are disgusting.
That, and it's not really all that interesting. There's just a ground strap on the engine mount. So, yeah. It's a 13.
Alright. Oh, there we go.
That's really free.
That's as free as America.
America, fuck yeah! Coming again to save the motherfucking day, yeah!
I don't think there's anything as free as America.
Oh yeah, that's right, because it's held on by a chain.
Okay, there we go. Hey, look at that. Oi!
It is an engine.
That there. Stuck on something.
There we go.
There we go. Okay. Here we go.
1 out of 10.
Oh my god. That is so sketchy. Don't try this at home, kids.
We're good, we're good.
You got it?
Yeah,
Woo.
yeah.
Make me nervous. There you go.
Ooh, this ain't no Miata engine, I tell you what.
Yeah.
Alright.
Alright, one wheel at a time. We're gonna get this one because I'm on this side.
Yep.
Fuck no. No, motherfucker. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Okay. Alright, straight guide. Whoa, 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 whoa. Don't slam into.
I saw it.
Ah. Okay, come this way.
We gotta go. Sorry.
Dubya.
Watch your feet.
Yeah, I'm clear. Okay, so what I'll do is
Are we
I'll
gonna rest
hold
on the
this.
bumper too?
We'll rest it right on the bumper
Yeah.
right there. That's the
And then we can do a
plan.
side by side comparison. This one's a lot dirtier.
Very much so. I could probably hold this side up if you want to lower it. This shit's heavier than it looks. We're just gonna very carefully drag it. This was a
I need
terrible
some-
idea.
I need some
Oh wait,
of that.
is it setting on the engine stand?
Yeah.
What's it setting on?
Oh, its own engine mount. Oh, the alternator.
Oh, wonderful. Oh no, AC compressor.
There you go.
Beautiful, that useless thing.
Yeah.
Hang on, we're just gonna scratch the ground.
Yeah, I don't want to ruin the floor.
Let's think. Too bad we don't have wood. We could drop it on wood and slide it. We do have wood.
We do it. Yeah. Hold
Grab
on.
the jack. We don't always do things the right way the first time, but when we do, we totally screw it up. What do we need?
Wood.
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 Wood. Because we're gonna put it on the wood and then it'll be easier to slide. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do you know what I am saying?
Yes, I believe I know what you are saying.
Oh, it's pissing. She's pissing her guts out. Alright, that's good.
Ready?
Okay, yeah, you can lower it. Ready? Yep. See?
Oh yeah. Much better.
Oh,
No, I'm good.
This is so awkward. Okay, and then now, I'll just slide your end. Oh, there we go.
Well, it certainly looks like we got our work cut out for us.
Oh, get all set.
But yeah, we got her out.
I think it's looking pretty good. It only took us multiple days and multiple errors and multiple tries, and well, you know what I'm trying to say. So now we got some issues and we got some things to think about.
So number one, big thing is we need to figure out if our head is in better condition or if that head is. Or if we want to keep this block or if we want to keep that block.
Or are we gonna do a hybrid?
Or-
both.
Yeah. That, and then also the problem is, like, we just rebuilt this transmission and, like, did all this work to it. It's nice, it's clean. This one, we don't really know the history, and they put an eBay clutch and stuff in it, and I'm kind of not feeling too good about it. Whereas this, I feel a little bit better, even though it's 270,000 miles, so...
Yeah, but the weak spot on BMW, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's not their transmissions.
Yeah, no,
So-
it's not the transmission.
I'm almost thinking we take our transmission and put it on that one, because I don't like how that one's missing that piece of metal that's like
Yeah,
Walker
let me see if I
plate
can...
thing.
So in here, I can get all the plates. Now, your starter's going to go here, but I can literally get back to where the flywheel is. Whereas on ours, there's metal all the way around. So we've got like this plate, and it's solid, and this goes here. So I don't know why it's missing on that one. Maybe it's a different generation. I don't know.
I'm kind of thinking that, yeah, it just makes me worried. I'm always terrified of little things like rocks and stuff, but I'm thinking that we have a lot to think about.
So I don't know. We got a lot to consider, a lot of things to think about, but that was how we removed our engine and transmission.
We got it out.
Yeah, it only took forever, but it's all good. So yeah, that's all we're gonna get done today. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button.
Subscribe for more.
Yeah, you got to do it. And if you have already, you guys are awesome. We appreciate you, and we'll be sure to see y'all in the next one.
We'll see y'all later.
So get ready, because in the next episode we're going to be tearing the engine down and getting it ready to pull the cylinder head.